This is the new BMW M3, and you might find it quite shocking because not only is the design controversial, so too is the propulsion system. I'll get into that in a bit, but first, I think we need to talk about the design. What the hell is going on with BMW? First, they wanted massive grills, like on the 7 Series. Then they wanted tall, skinny grills, like on the new iX3. And now we get a massive flat grille with the headlights inside. I get that BMW is trying to mimic the classic E30's design, but I think it looks like someone glued a handlebar moustache to the front of the car and then dyed the edges bright yellow. These colourful DRLs used to be a signature of BMW's exclusive CS models, but apparently they'll be slapping them on a load of M cars from now on. And that's not the only thing I don't like. The massive louvres on the bonnet belong in a filing cabinet, not on an M3. And what's going on with these tiny square fog lights? It's like BMW just pinched a few bulbs off the Hyundai Ioniq 9. However, there are some bits I do like. The centre lock wheels have a cool mesh design that looks like the old E30's BBS rims. And I also like the way BMW has modernised the classic M fistable door mirrors and added some M-colour graphics to the carbon fibre roof. But I've no idea why they decided to give it door handles off a Ford Mustang Mach-E. Look, they're the same, aren't they? Now, technically, the car you see here is just a concept. It's called the M Concept Nieuweklasse. The finished car is expected to be revealed later this year. However, BMW has a habit of revealing concept cars of its future M cars, which are so close to what the final car actually turns out to be, but they may as well not bother calling it a concept. Also, when you look at this car next to the all-new i3, the BMW revealed back in March, it's obvious that they share the same basic underpinnings. And that tells me that the new M version isn't going to look radically different from what you see here. So, as well as the disappointing front bumper, you also get a rear end that looks like it's had a monumental butt lift. Forget normal spoilers, BMW has given this car 2 giant ducktails, and the rear diffuser is the widest, lowest and most aggressive I've ever seen on a BMW M car. If you drive this thing in reverse, people might think it's a combine harvester. Overall though, I do quite like it. But once again, BMW has ruined the image by slapping some silly square lights on the bumper. And because these are red, they look exactly like the ones on a Land Rover Defender. There's no excuse for that on a BMW M3. However, new BMWs have always looked controversial. Remember when the previous M3 and M4 came out? Everyone hated the design. But, as with me, I bet it's grown on you. And it certainly didn't stop thousands of people from buying one of those cars. However, there's something about this car that might be an absolute deal breaker, and it's under the bonnet, because this new M3 is actually electric. What? Before you go reaching for your pitchforks, there will be a new M3 with a proper turbocharged petrol engine as well, and I'll tell you about that in a bit. But this particular car has 4 electric motors, an 800-volt electrical system, and a battery capacity over 100 kilowatt hours. Now that doesn't give us much to go on in terms of performance, but last year BMW tested something called the VDX concept, which used the same basic drive system as in this car. It also had 4 electric motors, and combined they put out 1,300 horsepower. That's almost double the power you get in today's plug-in hybrid BMW M5, and it means the VDX could blast from 0 to 60 miles an hour in a mere 1.8 seconds. To give you some context, here's what happened when I launched a 550 horsepower BMW M3 CS from 0 to 60 miles an hour. Oh my god, this just shot off like crazy. 3.13! Okay, so there's no way BMW will ever give the new M3 over 1,000 horsepower, but reports suggest 800 horsepower is indeed likely. This would still make the new M3 the most powerful BMW road car of all time. That would mean it has even more power than you get with the 748 horsepower XM label. And that car's supposed to be the M Division's flagship, though it's a flagship no one's really buying. However, there is more. The VDX concept also used a cool active downforce system. This featured electric fans that produced around 1,000 kilograms of downforce from 0 miles an hour, so when it was standing still, just like the McMurtry Spearling. It couldn't drive upside down like the McMurtry because the BMW weighs more than 1,000 kilograms, but it did manage to climb an insane 55-degree ramp and park there, like some kind of massive 4-wheel Spider-Man. Don't expect the road car to come with any of those superpowers though, but it will feature the latest version of BMW's Heart of Joy stability control system. This can react to the car's movements 10 times faster than the computers in today's M cars. And it should also come with the ability to completely disengage the motors on the front axle and turn it into a leery rear-wheel drive smoke machine. There are a few other things on this concept that you can bet will appear in the future M3 as well, most of which are inside the cabin. Spoiler alert, it's not the racing harnesses, the brace bar or the twin bucket seats in the back, although these could appear in a future special edition car like in the M5 CS. But the rest of the concept's interior looks suspiciously similar to the new i3. albeit with plenty of juicy M-specific upgrades. I'm talking about the new steering wheel, which gets 2 lower spokes angled at 45 degrees instead of the i3's weird vertical arrangement. And there's also a new red dead ahead marker, M-coloured stitching, and the all-important M-mode buttons. There are extra M logos on the raised information screen, the central touchscreen, and the new drive selector. And the centre console has been stripped of any cup holders, wireless chargers, and storage cubbies, although these will probably get added back in by the time the car goes on sale. However, let's move on to something far more exciting, because there's something else that's due to reappear in the M3 range after this car's launch. And that's a proper internal combustion engine. But Matt, I thought you said this M3 was electric. Well, yes it is, but BMW has previously confirmed that it'll sell 2 different M3 models. One with electric motors, which will look like this concept, and another that uses a conventional petrol engine. But which one will it use? Well, prototypes of the new M350, which is basically what BMW has decided to call the next generation M340i, have already been spotted undergoing testing. Just check out those exhausts. This guy is expected to use a modified version of the current 3-litre turbocharged 6-cylinder B58 engine, and the full-fat M3 should keep its twin-turbo S58 unit. However, to make sure it'll pass Euro 7 emissions regulations, it will be going hybrid. Does this mean the M3 is about to morph into a huge, heavy plug-in hybrid like the M5? Well, no. Previous engineering boss of the M division, Dirk Hacker, has confirmed it'll be a 48-volt mild hybrid system. BMW is already using this on the facelifted M340i, where it adds a small motor to contribute 11 horsepower. But because the battery capacity is only 0.4 kilowatt hours, it does this without adding too much weight. But how much power will the new M3 have? Well, the entry-level non-competition G80 M3, which we don't get in the UK, has 480 horsepower, which is 20 horsepower more than the older F80 CS had. So I reckon the next M3 will have at least the same power boost over today's G80 CS models. They produce 550 horsepower and 650 Nm of torque, which is already enough to embarrass the much more powerful BMW M5 and the much more expensive Audi R8 GT in a drag race. But considering the new Audi RS5 has 639 horsepower, I wouldn't be surprised if BMW gave their car 640 horsepower just to prove a point. After all, these engines are so incredibly tunable, and they can easily produce over 1000 horsepower with the right modifications, as I found out when I was totally humiliated in a drag race between this McLaren 750S and a bunch of tuned BMWs. But how much will the new M3s cost? Well, when the current G80 first arrived in 2021, it cost just over £75,000. But 5 years later on, that has ballooned to over £91,000. Even though the new car is set to use the same basic chassis and engine as today's model, I can guarantee it will cost more. And because it'll be one of the last non-plug-in performance saloons on sale, BMW can decide to charge whatever they want for it. So this could be the first M3 to come with a price tag over £100,000. And you just know that the electric version, as previewed by this concept, is going to be even more expensive. Even though it won't have the same 1300 horsepower as the VDX concept, it'll still be the flagship of BMW's newer Classe electric range. So I'd be surprised if you get much change from £110,000. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like. Let me know what you think about the new M3 in the comments below. And if you want to see me drive the car when it's available, make sure you subscribe to this channel. I've got a question for you though. Do you prefer this new M3 than AMG's new GT? That's also very controversial. And to see what I mean, click there to watch my video on that car.